at the desk.
Thank you, gentlemen. Ed Crumbs, talk to me, man. How you feeling after that game?
I mean, that was over a kill a minute for EDG alone. I mean, come on, that was nasty. That should have been censored. I'm sorry.
What?
Okay.
Shibi, I want to give you a moment to respond to this. Defend yourself in your Fnatic pick.
Well, I was thinking throughout the game, please make it stop after like 20 minutes. But Fnatic seemed to have fun at least. I think Huni, when he took the blue buff and they took the entire base, he was smiling and
fun will get you far.
And we also broke the curse of the anti-profit, which I'm, you know.
There you go. The upsides here.
Congrats here.
Thank you very much.
I'm a good loser here.
All right, 1-4 spawn. How you feeling?
1-3. Let's not go.
We made 3 predictions yesterday. You were wrong on all of them.
Yeah.
Correct today. So
one
of four.
American accents. I get a little bit confused sometimes. But that was a pretty typical EDG game. I like what they hit on there, though. There was actually a layer to that game that not a lot of people would have picked up on, and that is Def's Kalista. Because he doesn't play it. He was much more around the Corkies, around the Jinx, getting himself going. Even pulled the Kog'Maw out a little bit more than the Kalista, and they are trying to turn it into a ban. They don't want to have to play against it. We saw already that they don't do well against that pick, so they're just trying to get it removed from the board, but without having to ban it.
I was disappointed in Fnatic's draft by locking in the early Zed. Like, why are you doing this right now? You see the LeBlanc locked in early.
He got actually his solo kill.
He was obliterated in lane, but let me explain to you why. They lock in the LeBlanc early, and you're like, okay, LeBlanc's coming out. You can just save your last pick, judge the entire team comp, and then decide if you want an assassin or not. Instantly lock in the Zed as to some sort of challenge, like, yeah, I'm up to the challenge. I'll take the Zed LeBlanc matchup. Guess what? Lock in the Maokai. Maokai is not very good against Zed in a team fight. And to top things off, the sapling strategy with giving the first 3 camps of the Wraith camp with LeBlanc, so you put 2 saplings down, get the distortion over the wall, you're going to get destroyed in lane, and that's exactly what happened. Trading 1 for 1 doesn't matter when you're down 30 CS.
We will jump back into this conversation, Sheepy. I'll let you have your time for your rebuttal, but now for a word with the member of the victorious Edward Gaming. Let's check in with Shox in the interview lounge.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm joined here by Deft on the victorious EDG. Whew, what a performance that was, Deft. Tell me about you guys' picks and ban strategy, and especially making sure that you got your hands on that Kalista.
이번 경기 밴픽에 관해서 좀 듣고 싶은데요. 특히 칼리스타 선픽이 되게 인상적이었어요. 좀 설명 좀 해주세요.
지난번 SKT전에서 제가 뱅 선수한테 칼리스타를 주고 좀 많이 당했거든요. 그래서 저도 할 수 있다는 걸 보여주고 싶어서 골랐어요.
During our match against SKT yesterday, we had a very hard time against Bang's Kalista. So I want to show that I also can do that.
Well, you definitely showed it. You guys were very aggressive, and so was Fnatic. Were you surprised at all at the level of aggressiveness that team showed?
그 Fnatic 팀이 되게 공격적으로 게임을 좀 풀어갔어요. 어떻게 좀 그런 공격적인 플레이 스타일에 좀 당황하셨나요, 혹시?
공격적인 스타일로 치면은 다른 중국 팀들이 훨씬 공격적이라서 그런 걸로 딱히 당황하진 않았어요.
The Chinese teams back in LPL were much more aggressive, so we weren't that surprised.
And totally prepared, I can imagine. You guys are fighting or are doing very well on group to get out of groups. Here you're up against TSM a little bit later. What kind of EDG will we see? Will we see the EDG we saw versus SKT or the EDG we saw just now?
이제 다음 경기로 TSM과 경기가 남아 있는데요. TSM과 경기 때는 어제 SKT랑 붙었을 때 그 EDG 나올지 아니면 오늘 Fnatic과 붙었을 때 EDG 나올지 좀 궁금합니다.
일단 저희 팀이 잘하는 게 라인전을 일단 이기고 그 바탕으로 굴리는 걸 라인전이 강력해서 그걸 바탕으로 이기는 걸 잘하는데 어제 SKT전 같은 경우는 전 라인이 다 상성을 안 좋은 걸 골라서 다음 푸나틱전은 저희가 더 잘하니까 상성 그렇게 심하지 않은 걸로 골라서 라인전에서 끝내고 싶어요.
So I think our team's strength is pressuring our opponents during lane phase and getting the better picks. But our game against SKT, I think all of our lanes got outpicked. So we want to focus more on our picks during TSM and just end the game very early.
End the game very early. Well, we'll see if that happens. Congratulations and thank you very much. Back over to the analyst. Dash, take it away.
Thank you, Shocks. Before we jump back to Sheepy and his defense for Fevivin, I do want to throw out a couple of the statistics here that we saw backing up the strength of the laners here. Pawn up 20 CS at 10 minutes there. Deft 4-0-1 with a 50 CS lead by 12 minutes. And then on the side of Steelback is one of those Fnatic players that really needs to step it up this tournament. He, going into this game, averaged 21 CS differential down at 10 minutes. At the end of this game, he's now averaging 27.3 below his opponent in lane at 10 minutes.
For that game, though, the statistic about middle isn't necessarily valid just because of how big of an advantage the 3 Wraith camp, Raptor camp? Yeah, the 3 Raptor camp gives you. Just because you can hit level 2 off the first wave allows you to crush the lane. So if it was an even matchup, maybe it would have swayed the other way.
Yeah. Other thing I think teams need to really look at from this game is that Pawn is a distraction and Deft is a carry. Pawn is like dancing around. You saw he even went for the solo kill over the wall into 3 people. He literally looks like he has the funnest job in the world because he's backed up by Coral and Deft who do all this damage. And he just tries to annoy the heck out of people until Deft's at a point where he's like, okay, now I'll team fight games under control.
I feel that was pretty much what happened in this game. They went for those really aggressive plays and actually came out ahead, and I think there was some kind of outclass, and it was definitely not pretty for Fnatic. Things got pretty close, for example, for the top lane gank, where he almost killed
Well, at the end of the day, it did seem as though both teams were coming at each other as we expected with the same exact strategy. EDG coming out on top of every engagement in those early game brawls, and when you're leaving every engagement 1 or 2 kills up, eventually that lead becomes insurmountable.
And if you look at the team comp, they had a mid-game centric team comp with Zed supposedly split pushing at some point, and Drumble and Lucian, who's more like mid-lane. Carry, and I think it just didn't work out. They fall so far behind. They went for those skirmishes. They actually did pretty well, but we're so far behind that, you know.
I want to hit one more thing real quick. This was a pretty big loss here for Fnatic. Now they're 1-2. So going into the remainder of the day, what are they learning from this game, and how are they keeping their mentality out of the dumpster after the very first game of the day?
I think they have to keep their emotions out of the draft. Like, you have to be really analytical and think about what it means to lock in an early assassin pick when you don't have to. Just focus on building the structure of your team and then put the carries in later. Only a champion like Kalista is it really worth picking early because she offers a lot of utility. You're not going to lock in that really early carry champion unless you're Faker that plays LeBlanc.
But then they first picked Kalista, so...
Exactly. Like, these guys are really, really good at these champions. Otherwise, like, especially when you haven't seen the top lane champion, like, it's very difficult to play against that mid lane.
All right, well, we are 1 game in. We got to move on. There's 1 game down, and there's no slowing down at this point. Coming up next, the North American champions Team Solo Mid will face the LMS's AHQ Esports. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Love me like you do. Love me like you do.
You know that this will go on Reddit, right?
Ah, no. Sorry. It's not record.
Daft on Kalista can just get out of that late crowd control, quickly bouncing back. Now the hook from Mako, and he can't get any help from Steelback.
Game to build Warrior enchanted.
Oh, another one.
Oh,
get wall, buddy. Trying to do some work, but he gets destroyed by Pawn, and Steelback finds his way into the fight eventually. And Koro, why are you not dead? Doesn't even give the assist to Def as Rainover. He's going to try and tunnel out Koro with the twisted advance. Getting destroyed.
Holy shit. Oh, look at this. Why do you love it? That's so thank you.
Man, that was a disgusting performance from the Chinese.